The Minnesota Timberwolves would use their first overall pick in the 2020 NBA Draft on Anthony Edwards, the shooting guard out of Georgia. Anthony Edwards was my preseason #1 prospect for this draft, and he held that title up until around January, I want to say, when LaMelo took over that spot and never looked back. Despite this, Edwards was always viewed as an acceptable first overall pick in my eyes due to his fit with the Minnesota Timberwolves and his talent. In today's video, we are going to be looking at what I believe you can expect from Anthony Edwards in his rookie season and potentially moving forward. Before we get into today's video, if you're part of the 80% that watch my videos and happen to not be subscribed, or you happen to be new and like what you see, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I release a video. With all this draft stuff going on, you can expect new daily uploads, but usually I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and if you love basketball, I really think you would love this channel as well. So it would mean a lot to me if you would do all of those things. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. To understand what we can expect out of Anthony Edwards this season, we first must talk about his skill set. And the big thing with Anthony Edwards is his physical tools and scoring skills. Staying at around 6'5" and weighing around 225 pounds with great athleticism, Edwards is the most physically gifted guard prospect I have ever seen. His size and strength should give him an advantage at the shooting guard spot simply due to the fact that most shooting guards in the NBA won't be able to handle his physicality because they just aren't as physically gifted as him. The only two guards that come to mind that can match his physicality off the top of my head are guys like James Harden, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Paul George, and Jimmy Butler, if you consider those two guys two guards. I know I'm missing a few names, but still the list is very small of shooting guards that can match his physicality. This makes him a very dangerous slashing threat and allows him to drop fouls at a high rate. But it's not just the physical tools, it's also about the scoring as well. Anthony Edwards is a very good shot creator, and he's also a very capable scorer off the dribble. I don't think a spot on the floor exists where he can't hit a shot. He's truly a 3-level scorer, and when he's in the groove, he's shown the ability to take over games. And while he's not an elite playmaker or an elite passer by any stretch of the imagination, I do think that he is solid in those aspects as well. Edwards does have all the physical tools, obviously, and has all the skills you want in a modern-day scoring guard at the 2 spot. However, he's far from perfect as a prospect. But the thing is, I don't think a lot of the problems have to do with skills as it does to do with mentality things. I'm not even talking about off-the-court stuff because I'm not looking too much into that because I don't know the guy personally, and I'm not going to judge a guy based off what I've read in an article. I'm going to judge him based off what I know about him, and I don't know a lot about him, so I'm not going to judge him. Edwards, though, on the court does have some mentality problems in my opinion. He's not a good shot selection guy, and his efficiency numbers at Georgia reflected that. Granted, he was forced to carry the load on offense and constantly deal with help defenders, but still, this is a problem that was dating back to high school. Because I do truly believe that Edwards' shooting splits at Georgia aren't an accurate reflection of how good of a shooter he is. When you watch the tape, it's a lot more of he's taking bad shots than it is he's not a good shooter. Also, plenty of times he didn't use his physical tools to his advantage and would settle for tough jumpers. This is a massive problem due to the fact that shot selection has a massive impact on his biggest skill set, and that is scoring. Trust me, he has all the tools to be an elite defender. It's all there, trust me. At times, not only did he look like one of the best players in this draft, but also one of the best prospects in the world regardless of class. But for all of those moments, plenty other moments where he lacked consistency and was taking bad shots exist. So now let's talk about how he's going to fit with the Minnesota Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards is likely going to slide right into that starting shooting guard role. I know they just re-signed Malik Beasley, but they just spent the first pick in this year's draft on Edwards, so it's hard for me to believe that Edwards would be coming off the bench considering how much draft capital they invested into him. Plus, I don't even know if Malik Beasley is going to be playing basketball this year at all. So now he's in the starting lineup alongside Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell. I'll be honest with you, I don't know who the rest of the starters are going to be. Probably guys like, James Johnson and Jarrett Culver. We don't know, honestly. I don't know, honestly. I should say, not we, because I can't speak for everyone. I just don't know. But obviously, Cat is going to be the main option on offense. He's going to be the main focal point. He's been the main focal point since really the moment he was drafted back in 2015, and I think it's continued to be that way because he's the most talented player and the best player on the team. I think D'Angelo Russell is the clear second option on offense due to the fact that he's a better passing playmaker and a more proven scorer at this level. So with Cat being the main source of point production and D'Lo being the main offensive initiator, it's very clear to me that Anthony Edwards will be the third option because, again, minus Malik Beasley, who we don't know is going to be playing basketball or not this year, there really isn't anyone that I believe is as talented as Anthony Edwards on the roster offensively. And I do think being the third option is going to be a great thing for him. I honestly think Edwards will be a more efficient NBA rookie than he was as a freshman in college, simply due to the fact that he isn't forced into a situation where he has to carry the offense. He has D'Lo and he has Cat around him, so he won't be forced into taking difficult shots like he had to with the Georgia Bulldogs. And it isn't like he isn't capable of hitting tough shots, but again, the sheer amount of easier looks he's going to be getting will help his efficiency because, again, he is a very capable shot maker. I also think his assist numbers might see a bit of an increase as well due to him having better teammates around him now. I do think that he needs to show that he's a capable off-ball player. He did show signs as a cutter in college. However, he's going to have to show more value as an off-ball scorer as far as shooting goes because he isn't going to have the ball in his hands all the time like he did at Georgia. I think in his rookie year, Anthony Edwards will average around 16 points per game, 5 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game on 42, 33, 78 shooting splits. You never know what to expect out of a player's career until they actually play. But I do think the high end for Anthony Edwards is a player like a Donovan Mitchell or a first-year Indiana Pacers Victor Oladipo, guys who have shown they can be the best player or at least the main offensive guy on an upper half playoff team in their conference, but don't necessarily have what it takes to be the best player on a contender. On a contender, I think Anthony Edwards would be, at his best, a 20 to 25, maybe even a little more than 25 point per game scorer that isn't the main option. Very similar to what Kyrie Irving was in Cleveland, where Kyrie Irving was putting up great point production, but you still knew it was LeBron's team. I think Anthony Edwards would play that kind of role. I think like Oladipo and Mitchell, Edwards won't have the greatest 3-point percentage numbers, but is someone that is more than capable of hitting them at a high rate. The big difference between Anthony Edwards and Mitchell and Oladipo, I believe, is the fact that I think Edwards at his best will draw fouls at a much higher rate than both of them, just due to the fact that he's built like a tank. I think the middle ground for a guy like Anthony Edwards is a Zach LaVine type player. We can put up 25 plus points a game on a bad team, probably put up around 20 to 23 points a game on a slightly above average playoff team, but he's much closer to 18 to 20 points per game on a contender as a third option. And I think the low end for him is obviously a guy like an Andrew Wiggins, where he is clearly talented and the talent is clearly there, but it's only in flashes and you never get to see him put it all together. And he ends up being just a 20 point per game scorer on pretty bad efficiency and never really has an impact on winning basketball. However, only time will tell when it comes to what Edwards could be in the NBA. It is interesting because most of the time when you're looking at number one pick, he's supposed to be the face of the franchise, superstar, guy you build around. But with Edwards, they definitely drafted him with the expectation that he would be the second or third option on the team. And it's funny because he drew a lot of comparisons to Zach LaVine when he was going through the draft process. I didn't necessarily agree with the comparisons because physically they aren't that similar. And LaVine is definitely a more polished scorer and has better decision-making skills, in my opinion, than Edwards does. But regardless, it is funny that they compared him to LaVine because of the fact that the Wolves drafted Anthony Edwards and Zach LaVine started his career in Minnesota. And I think they have a similar expectation for Anthony Edwards as they had for Zach LaVine when he was in Minnesota. And that's to be the third option. For LaVine, that was, of course, behind Wiggins and Towns. For Edwards, that's behind D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. I'm rooting for Anthony Edwards. I'm rooting for him heavily. I've always been rooting for him. He's always been a favorite of mine. I've talked ad nauseum about how frustrating at times he can be when watching a tape, but at the end of the day, I'm still rooting for the guy to be the most successful as he could possibly be, and for him to be happy, with his career. And, especially now, I definitely was already rooting for him, but I'm definitely rooting for him even more now because the fact that, I saw how people, reacted to certain articles that were being put out about him. And I saw what people were saying about him and certain jokes that were being made and there's certain things that were being said that I think were just unjustified and unfair to say about a kid who's only 19 years old. Like, the guy's my age, and, he did say some things that were eyebrow-raising, but at the end of the day, he's 19. Like, as a 19-year-old, I can attest, we all say stupid things. And I don't think we should hold him to a different standard just because he has a camera in front of his face. Again, at the end of the day, we all have to remember as well, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids where, they're gonna say and do stupid things. Now, not overly stupid things, you can't just brush that stuff away, but they're gonna say silly things. And I really didn't take much of what Anthony Edwards said in that article. In fact, I had a completely different outlook on that article, I'll be quite honest with you. But I think people just need to stop judging people without knowing them. And just because you read a few articles about the guy and have listened to a few interviews does not mean you know the guy. I don't know the guy, you don't know the guy, so don't necessarily just go out and judge the guy based off what you've read and what you've heard. That's just what I'm going to say there, but I'm hoping for the best for the guy. But that's the end of this video. Let me know down in the comment section below, what do you think Anthony Edwards will average as a rookie in the NBA? Will he win Rookie of the Year? Will he lead all rookies in scoring? What kind of year do you think he's going to have? If you haven't already, subscribe, do all of those things. Help me reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But with that being said, have a nice day.